Jai Jendra everyone. On behalf of Jaina, I would like to welcome you all for the third day of Das Lakshan Parv or Digambar Paryushan. I would like to welcome our speaker, Manish Modi. As we discussed that he is a publisher like his father, and he is a son of renowned speaker Pandit Nathuram Premi. So Manish bhai, we are welcoming you all. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Jai Jinendra. I'm the great grandson of Pandit Nathuram Premi. He died in 1960. Anyway, it's fine. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Jai Jinendra. Namo Aryantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airiyanam, Namo Uvajjayanam, Namo Loe Sabbasathanam. Eso Pancha Namo Yaro, Sabva Pava Papanasanam, Mangaladam Chasabbesu Padmapavima. Mangalam Bhagavan Viro, Mangalam Gautama Prabhu, Mangalam Kundu Kundadyo, Jaina Dharmostu Mangalam, Arihanta Mangalam Nityam, Siddha Jagati Mangalam. Mangalam sadhave sarve, Jaina dharmostu mangalam. Sarva mangala mangalyam, sarva kalyana karakam. Pradhanam sarva dharmanam, Jainam jayatu shasanam. Jainam jayatu shasanam. Jainam jayatu shasanam. We have come to our third day of Paryushans. Actually, the fourth day in India. Paryushans are a time of contemplation and reflection. They give us the opportunity each year to reflect on where we are, where we have been in the past, and to understand that if we are not happy with where we are, we have to change our methodology, our thought process. So Paryushan is an opportunity to help us realize and understand, first of all, where we are, and secondly, what we need to do to reach the level of happiness that we aspire towards. To this end, I'm going to share a poem that I wrote some years ago on liberation. It's called Liberation. The votary who desires liberation needs to equip himself with the sword of wisdom, the shield of non-attachment, and the impenetrable armor of disenchantment with the world. With his sword, he shall annihilate delusion and conquer his senses. And with his shield, he shall remain tranquil, unaffected by the quagmire of worldly life. His armor of disenchantment shall ensure that he would never get caught up in the madness of greed and envy and remain aloof to material wealth and the vicissitudes of human relations. Armed with the spear of penance, he shall destroy lethargy and despondence, the twin enemies of accomplishment. Impelled by the three jewels of Samveg Darshan, Samveg and Sanyam, enlightened perception, disillusion with worldly existence and self-control, and commanding the five reins of his senses, he shall race his chariot of righteousness and dharma towards the goal of eternal bliss known as moksha. He shall attain it by introspection and by reasoning and by realizing that the soul is different from the body it occupies. It is bound to the world only because of its delusion. Shedding all delusion, he shall practice penance, rid his soul of karmas, and rise upwards, liberated at last. This, my friends, is my goal in my life, and I think it's everyone's goal. We all want to attain liberation. This is what all of us aspire towards. It's the only goal worth having, because every other goal is transient. Whatever you, whatever we may think of our worldly goals, look back 5 years, you had certain worldly goals and aspirations. Today they mean nothing. You look back 10 years and your worldly goals then are absolutely pointless today. 5 years later, what we aspire for today in terms of worldly ambition would seem pointless and shallow. These will change with time. The only goal that we have that's constant, even from the time we attain consciousness from the age of 5, 6, 7, 4, from that age to your current age, the one thing that we have all sought is happiness. Our definition of happiness keeps changing because we are mundane people and leading mundane lives. We're not always in a stage of maturity and perfection that we may perceive the pointlessness of worldly goals, the sheer waste of time that we do. And it's okay, it's fine, because we're all in the same boat. Whether it's me or you, we're all struggling with the same realities, the same thoughts, desires, same frailties, same ambitions, same complaints. And the way out of this is to change how we think, how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive this world around us. That's the only way. And the best way of doing that is practicing the universal law as taught by Jayesh Bhai Sheth. It's basically compiled, it's taught by the Jinnas. It's the distilled wisdom of the Jinnas, compiled by Jayesh Bhai Sheth, who's a sadhak himself. And I am going to cover the universal law in these 10 days. And we will cover each aspect of it to the best of my ability. If you want to download it, it's available on www.jayesheth.com. It will be coming on screen here also as soon as I figure out how to put it up on screen. And most importantly, it's giving you the points that you need to understand that will equip you to attain a stage of no complaint and no desire, from where Samveg Darshan is possible. We all know that Samveg Darshan is the highest possible goal for all of us here, all of us human beings on earth. The best and finest thing that we can achieve, we can actually achieve in this life. Don't have to be reborn don't have to be reborn in Mahavidya Kshetra. You don't have to bother about gender or any of these things. You can actually achieve Samyak Darshan in this life. By following the universal law, you attain a stage of no complaint and no desire. And that's the launching pad. From then, when you attain that stage, you're eminently qualified to attain Samyak Darshan. It will happen. So I start with the universal law from where we had left off yesterday. I just need to switch on the screen, I think. Just give me one moment. Please, I apologize for my naivete. I am very bad. I'm a Luddite. I hate technology and I'm impatient with technology and I'm really bad with technology. So just give me one moment. I'll switch on the universal. I'll switch on what Digambar taught me yesterday. Just give me one moment, please. Just one moment. I'm switching on the file that I need to open. Give me one moment, please. Yes. This is the universal law. Now I go back to Zoom. And I think I have forgotten how to get this thing. Sorry. I'll just take it from the way we are. Sorry, I forgot how to do that. But nevertheless, I am covering the universal law. It is a universal operating system applicable to all. We have covered the first few ones and I'll just run through them very quickly. The first one is I receive what I give, what I wish for others comes back to me. The second, I am the soul. This body is a role that I have been given. Generally, we get the role we had hankered after. The third, whatever is happening to me is a mirror of my past. It is a reflection of my past deeds. What I have not done or not caused to be done or allowed to be done through acts of mind, speech, and body shall never happen to me. Therefore, no injustice is done to me either at present or in the past or in the future. By realizing this, I remain firmly in the no complaint zone. Whatever has caused me pain is the result of my own past actions. My own past actions. It has nothing to do with others. So there is no question of blaming others. Hence, the why me question does not arise. I create good luck by doing punya. I create bad luck by committing pap. Examples of pap, it is indulging in the 7 vices, the saptavyasana, with gambling, consuming alcohol, consuming non-vegetarian food, visiting prostitutes, stealing, hunting, and indulging in adultery or infidelity. Consuming tobacco in any form, eating after sunset, and eating root vegetables, pickles, honey, pigs, butter, etc. Bear in mind, punya equals to gain, papa equals to pain. Reflect on this. I shall learn to gain from pain. I am here to give unconditionally without any expectation. By giving, I am either repaying my old debts or creating new deposits. I benefit in both cases. I have to perform my duty to the best of my ability without expecting others to do their best. All of us have to fulfill our duty towards family, friends, colleagues, society, country, and humanity. I have to be strict with myself and lenient with others. Whatever happens, happens for good. Je thai te sara mate, je thai te mara karne. Believing this brings super positivity. When you're deeply, utterly convinced that whatever happens happens for the good, you will see the positive in it. You will understand the hand of karma. And you will realize that there's not a lot that we can do. The circumstances that we face in life are not in our hands. All we have in our hands is how we react to them. That's all we can do. And how we react to them is through using the 4 bhavnas. The 4 bhavna, as they are called, they are Maitri, Pramod, Karuna, and Mahatmast. There's a beautiful shlok by Acharya Amit Gati Suri which explains them. Satveshu Maitrim Gunishu Pramodam Klisteshu Jiveshu Kripa Paratvam Madhyastha Bhavam Viparita Vrittau Sada Mamatma Vidadhatu Deva. The first bhavna is Maitri. Maitri means universal friendship. It shall protect my happiness by not creating enmity with others. Wanting the welfare of others shall ensure my own welfare. Now, what is Maitri? I was reminded of this the other day. Last Tuesday was the Pratikraman of the Shwetambar community, the Shwetambar tradition. I'd gone for the Pratikraman there. I normally go with my friend Manish and we do Pratikraman there. And after Pratikraman, we all did Michhami Dukadam. And we're hugging and laughing. And I'm like, boss, we do Michhami Dukadam with our friends. There is no jagda with your friend. Why are you doing Michhami Dukadam? I mean, it's good to do. But are we really doing Michhami Dukadam with our enemies, with our opponents, with the people we strongly and actively dislike? And if the answer is a very wishy-washy, like, yeah, well, I sent him a message, I sent him a WhatsApp. If I meet him in the temple, I'll just say Michhami Dukadam. But andar se, have we been able to forgive him andar se? Andar se Michhami Dukadam hua kya? The answer, if being honest, is no, not quite. You say, I forgive him, but I can't forget what he did. You actually have not forgiven him. This forgiveness is a very, very difficult and very misleading and a very slippery slope, I've often seen that forgiveness is accompanied by an ego. You feel, oh, I'm so great, I forgave him, I'm superior to him. And therefore, forgiveness sometimes gives rise to pride and anger and arrogance. Also, forgiveness has a limited shelf life. एक बार forgive किया, 2 बार forgive किया, 5 बार forgive किया, 10 बार किया. Then what? How many times can I forgive someone? You can't. There's a limit. We have this story called Shishupal Vadham. It's a beautiful tract in Sanskrit, translated to English by Walden Das. In Shishupal Vadham, Lord Krishna forgives his Buaji's son, Shishupal, 100 transgressions. Now, Shishupal is this really horrible, horrible person, an absolute thief and a crook and a scoundrel. He keeps doing bad things. Lord Krishna is justified. But he tells Shishupal that, look, you're my Buaji's son. I'll forgive 100 sins, but don't test my patience. So Shishupal is this very arrogant, misguided, really nasty person, and he commits 100 sins. And Lord Krishna forgives him. Now, when he commits the 101st sin, Lord Krishna's patience runs out, and he kills him with his Sudarshan Chakra. Finish. End of Shishupal. Shishupal Vad. Because forgiveness has a limit. It cannot be infinite. It is finite. Therefore, we have been taught the path of Maitri. When you're friends with someone, to kahe ka chagda? And you will forgive. Even if you quibble and quarrel over something, you'll forgive him. And he's my best friend, yaar. Chodo na. Let him do what he wants. Mara dostar che. Mere jigri dost hai, yaar. I'll forgive him. Now, what if the entire world and the entire universe were your friend? Would you not forgive them? I think you would. In the long run, yes, sure. For a moment or two, you'll be upset and you'll say, Kya yaar, kya karta hai? What's this nonsense? But in the long run, you forgive him. Because he's your friend, yaar. Come on. Friends mushkil se to milte hain. How can you not forgive a friend? Therefore, Bhagwan says, Maitri Bhav with every human being on earth. Every living human being ke saath, I'm going to be friends. Maitri Bhav jagat mein mera sab jeevon se nitya rahe. Now, what is this Maitri we're talking about? Does Maitri mean going, pubbing together, clubbing together, getting drunk together? No. We're talking of Param Kalyanmay Maitri. We're talking of friendship that is often understood as Kalyan Mitra. We become each other's friends on the path of upliftment, on the path of enlightenment. Kalyan Mitra. And this is by its definition Niswarth, without any swarth whatsoever. Because when I wish that you attain liberation, you attain the highest level of happiness, what could my swarth be? I have no vested interest. I just want you to be happy forever. I want eternal happiness for you. Niswarth bhav se. That is a true friend. I want eternal happiness for everyone, for every living human being. That is a true sadhak. That is a true chain. I have to develop and inculcate this emotion within me that I feel this kind of Kalyan Maitri towards every living being on earth. And trust me, it's like the first law, what I wish for others comes back to me. So when I wish that others attain the supreme happiness of liberation, then guess what? I am going to get that one too. And then there will be no enmity towards anyone on earth. When everyone is my friend, enemy is kaun hai bhai? There is no enemy. And therefore, as an extension, there will be no envy. Because we don't envy our friends. We may envy outsiders and other people, and we may envy our opponents and, our colleagues at times, our business rivals. But do we envy our friends? No, never. If you love someone, how can you envy that person? He's your friend. He's your best friend. Why would you envy him? On the other hand, when we hate someone, then we are full of negativity and hatred and anger and resentment. And you know what? Whether it harms that person or not, we are harming ourselves. Our anger is corrosive to us. We're harming ourselves. And there's 4 ways in which we harm ourselves. Number 1, whenever you think of them, you feel an agony. There's an anguish in your soul that you will feel every time you remember your enemy. Every time someone brings up his name, say, hey, bhai, please don't talk of him in front of me. It annoys the hell out of me. Why? Because you hate him. So his very name, the very mention of his name causes you pain. Number 2, you actually feel physical pain. It harms you. Anger is deeply corrosive. It not only affects your mental state, it also begins to affect your physical state. Therefore, no anger, no hatred, friendship. Thirdly, whenever you think of someone whom you dislike, who's your enemy, it destroys your happiness. It messes up your mood completely. Naturally, you dislike him and someone brings up his name, it messes up your happiness. Fourthly, most importantly, most horribly, you bind karmas. When you hate someone, you bind intense karmas. Perhaps nikachit karmas. Karmas that you cannot get rid of. Karmas that will come back and haunt you for life after life after life. So be careful. When you hate someone, you're making a reservation. You're booking that he will come back and keep hurting you and keep harming you. My Guru Jayesh always tells me, Manish, आपको ये आदमी पसंद नहीं है ना, उसके लिए मैत्री भाव रखो. If you don't keep मैत्री भाव, what's going to happen? I am making a booking. Every time I think of him, every time I resent him, I'm booking for myself sorrow, unhappiness, anguish. कि अगले भाव में फिर मिलेगा. I will meet this gentleman again and again and again, and every time in every birth that I meet him, I will bind more karmas, therefore make more bookings. Who am I hurting? Myself or him? I'm hurting myself. I spoke about Kamat and Parshvanath yesterday. Kamat was the real grandfather of Bhagwan Parshvanath. But his hatred for Parshvanath meant he kept binding karmas. He died, he became a celestial being and kept hating Bhagwan Parshvanath, kept trying to harm him. Where is he now? In Nigod. And where's Bhagwan Parshvanath? In Moksha. Bhagwan Parshvanath enlightened the path for us. He attained that true happiness for himself and showed all of us the path. So Bhagwan Parshvanath practiced Maitri Bhav, and Kamat did not practice Maitri Bhav. He practiced hatred. So where do you want to go? You want to become Bhagwan Parshvanath, or do we want to become Kamat? If you want to become Kamat, please go ahead and practice hatred as much as you like. रोज झगड़ा कीजिए, कोर्ट में जाइए, फिजिकल मारामारी कीजिए, व्हाट्सएप पे गाली दीजिए, फोन करके झगड़ा कीजिए. You're going on the path of Kamat. ये पक्का है. On the other hand, if you want what Bhagwan Parshvanath has achieved, then you practice Maitri. Isn't this beautiful? I think Chitrabhanji composed this. Maitri bhavano pavitra charano mujh hayya ma baya kare. It's really lovely. And we should all recite it. In Hindi, Gujarati, language is not important, but it's important to not hate, to practice Maitri Bhav towards all living beings. You know, when we practice friendship with all living beings, we feel happiness from inside. We feel a lightness of being. And we are not binding karmas because there is no enmity, there is no hatred. So we are not binding any negative karmas. Take this to another level. Those people who have hatred towards another sect, towards another tradition, towards another religion, towards another path, he will find it impossible to make friends with person from that community, tradition, path, religion, sect, faith, whatever. Because for him, he has a bias towards his own paths and an inherent bias against another path. Therefore, he will struggle to make friends. He'll always be like, I like him, he's a nice man, but well, he belongs to that religion, whatever. He will love those who belong to his own sect or community, but he will hate people who belong to another sect or another community. Now, when he hates someone, what happens? You bind karmas that will stop you from attaining Samyak Darshan, that will stop you from attaining moksha. So if you hate someone, you remain stuck in transmigration. That is why those who have realized the truth tell us that you don't hate anyone. Don't get stuck on one community, one faith, one sect, one religion. People can be good irrespective of the religion and the faith and the community and the sect they belong to. And if you cannot accept that, if you cannot understand that, you're booking for yourself sorrow and life in samsara. You will never find peace. And even if you find peace momentarily, it will never stay with you because you're on the wrong paths. The moment you start setting boundaries that this is my friend circle, beyond that, everyone is my enemy, you're making sure that you will constantly be unhappy, miserable. Friends, don't do that. When we limit our friendships, when we limit our love, when we limit our affection, we are limiting ourselves and we are restricting our own chances of attaining Samyak Darshan, of attaining moksha. The second bhavna is pramod. Pramod is delight, admiration, ahobhav, deep respect, deep-seated admiration for the good qualities of others. And you know what? You admire the good qualities of others. If you truly respect them, you will imbibe those qualities. You will attain those qualities yourself. I have this friend, Satyanarayan Hegde. He's an advocate. He practices in Bombay Labor Court and a wonderful lawyer. We became friends, I think, 24, 25 years ago. 25 years ago. And he's a brilliant scholar of Sanskrit, Prakrit, Pali, Apabhransh, Urdu, Persian, modern Kannada, ancient Kannada, Marathi, English, French, German, and for time pass, it is Latin and Greek also. This is a list of languages that he's an expert in. He's the one who inspired me, and I admire him so tremendously. And he's my friend, so I keep telling him, boss, तेरे को मैं म्यूजियम में रखूंगा, टिकट लगाऊंगा. People will come and see you कि ऐसा भी कोई इंसान होता है. But seriously, his language skills are amazing. I've never met a person like that. No one else. And I admire him so tremendously. Over the years, I have picked up on languages. I'm not a scholar like Satya, but I'm comfortable with Hindi, English, Gujarati, Marathi. I speak Urdu fluently, Punjabi reasonably well. And I've learned, I'm a student of Prakrit and Sanskrit. It's because I admire Satya so much and just think, wow, he's my role model for languages. So I've learned this because I admire him and I take such delight in his, qualities of being a polyglot and a polymath. So when you admire someone, you pick up their qualities. Now, our greatest admiration should be towards the Panch Parameshti, the Arihantas, the Siddhas, the Acharyas, the Upadhyayas, and the Sadhu Sadhvijis. They are our greatest role models. We aspire to become like them. But that will happen when you take pramod in their qualities. When you are delighted, when your heart flows with happiness, overflows with happiness when you think of the Tirthankars. People talk of Namokar mantra, how many times do you recite it, how many times do you count the mala. Our Guru Jayesh Bhai tells us नमोकार मंत्र तो जितना हो फ्री टाइम नमोकार मंत्र गिनो. Don't count. But when you do it with the greatest possible admiration for the Tirthankars and for the Panch Parmeshwari. They are our role models. They are the ones who've shown the path and walked the path themselves, and in the case of Arihantas and Siddhas, attained the paths of liberation, attained liberation. They are the perfected beings. So Namokar Mantra kijiye, thinking of them, thinking of their qualities, and basking in the deepest possible admiration for the Panch Parameshwari. फिर देखें नमोकार मंत्र का जादू. It's beautiful. You don't have, I mean, of course, when you learn any mantra, you make sure you study it properly and you pronounce it correctly. But it's the internal admiration, the internal flow of energy and love and profound gratitude that you feel towards the Tirthankars. When you feel that, when you do your Namokar mantra, then a Namokar mantra is absolutely successful. Doesn't matter whether you do it in the morning or night or evening, whether you wear white clothes or colored clothes. Just feel that gratitude for the Tirthankars. That's when you will find the depth, the deep contentment that Namokar mantra gives you. And it's the greatest mantra on earth. There's no mantra above this. There's nothing on earth that is above the Namokar mantra. Recite it, feeling this admiration for the Tirthankars, and you will feel a bliss that I cannot describe. It's beyond my capacity to describe that bliss. So promote towards the Tirthankars, promote towards the Panch Parmeshwaris, the Tirthankars, the Siddha Bhagwan, the Acharya Bhagwan, the Upadhyaya Bhagwan, and the Sadhu Bhagwan. Promote towards their qualities, towards what makes them so great. Our promote should be not only towards the person who possesses those qualities, but also towards the very qualities themselves. तीर्थंकर से तो प्रेम है, उनके गुणों से भी प्रेम करो, क्योंकि गुण से तीर्थंकर बने ना. Bhagwan Mahavir is not Bhagwan Mahavir because he's tall and handsome. Of course, he's tall and handsome. Understood. He's a Tirthankar. But he is fantastic because of his qualities. Therefore, promote towards his qualities. And when you constantly feel this admiration, it becomes very, very easy to imbibe those qualities yourself. That's the nature of the universe, that when you admire something, you automatically imbibe those qualities in yourself. I know that in 1978-79, when Kapil Dev made his debut for India, I was, I think, 9 years old. There was this test series in Pakistan. Kapil Dev made his debut and this beautiful run-up, and he comes running in and bowls fast. No one else in India for the past 20 years had ever bowled a bouncer at an opponent batsman. And suddenly you have Kapil Dev bowling bouncers against Majid Khan and Mudassar Nazar, their openers. And like, wow, India finally has a fast bowler. And every child, every boy in India, and that time began dreaming of becoming a fast bowler. Everyone, kids were running on the streets, imitating his run-up. And you know what? I developed a very good run-up because I admired Kapil Dev. Not that I became a great bowler. I was a faltu player. I was an all-rounder. Poor batsman, poor bowler, poor fielder. But I developed a great run-up because I admired Kapil Dev's run-up so much. Admiration means you end up learning those qualities. You pick up those qualities. It just happens. So, when you admire the good qualities of a person, you will pick them up automatically. Unknowingly, you'll pick them up. when you respect them, you have adar bhav, you have tremendous regard for those qualities, you will imbibe them automatically. And then you will never envy that person. अरे आपको तो अहोभाव है. Like, wow, he's such a great person. You will admire him. There's no question of envy. And you will pick up those qualities. And you know what? Every living being on earth has some good quality. Even the worst of people have good qualities. Even Hitler had one good quality. He was a vegetarian. Kuch to acha hai na? Admire the good quality. We have to look at the good qualities of people, not their bad qualities. Whenever I think of someone, I must think of his good qualities, not his bad qualities. Bura jo dekhan main gaya, as Kabir says. If I look at bad qualities, I don't have to go outside. I have enough within myself. I am the greatest storehouse of bad qualities I could ever look for. So don't go outside looking for bad qualities. You have enough yourself. Go outside looking for good qualities so that you can learn them, imbibe them, and develop them, internalize them. And then, when you look at the good qualities in others, you'll never look upon them as inferior beings. You look upon them as good, kind, decent people because they have some good quality, some redeeming quality. Even the nastiest of people will have, perhaps they'll be great fathers, great husbands, great grandfathers. So you look at that quality of that person, okay, chalo, he may be whatever. He may have one bad quality, but look at how kind he is, how gentle he is to his children, to his grandchildren. There is some redeeming quality. And when you don't hate people, you don't bind bad karmas. As a corollary, when you hate people, you bind extremely powerful bad karmas, negative karmas. And the more intensely you hate someone, the more intense pap karmas you will bind. Therefore, please don't hate people. Please see their good qualities. Look for good qualities in people. Imbibe those good qualities. And you will save yourself from binding pap karmas. What's more, you feel happy. You feel lightness, when you look at good qualities. Kitna acha lagta hai. When you go to someone's house, you see a beautiful decorated home, you say, wow, this is cool, man. And when you look at a person who's so kind and helpful to others, you automatically feel admiration. Wow, this guy is such a kind human being. He treats people so well. This is planting the seed of goodness and kindness within yourself. When you admire people, you're planting that seed of kindness in yourself that you have admired in him. Once again, if you're stuck to one particular way of life, one particular sect, tradition, and you feel that all other sects and traditions are rubbish, then you're not admiring, then you're practicing hatred. So when you get into agraha, when you insist that this is the right path and only this is the right path, all other paths are rubbish, then you will not be able to appreciate the good qualities of people who don't follow your paths. And trust me, there are good people everywhere, not just in one community. Therefore, why should we insist that only this community is good for me? All others are bad. Only that community is bad. There are good people and bad people in every community. No community is homogeneous, Human beings, all living beings, we're not heterogeneous. We're all different. We think differently. There is no consistency. That's why sociology is an imperfect science and physics is a perfect science, because physics is dealing with natural phenomena which can be predicted. And sociology deals and anthropology deals with human beings who are never predictable. So no hatred, no anger, and no agra. No, don't draw a line in, on stone that I will, only this is good, everything else is bad. There's goodness everywhere. And if you are unable to find that goodness everywhere, you will be unhappy, dissatisfied, morose, discontent, wherever you go. You'll find bad things. You go to a hotel, we find there are 10 nice things, perhaps 2 bad things. I went, my friend, his daughters had, 2 of his daughters had practiced Athai. I went for the Parna. Fantastic food. And then I was thinking, Are yaar, maybe this venue is not good. So I've bound that my happiness and joy at my friend's daughter's doing an Athai is decreased and diminished because I'm thinking, yaar, location kaisi thi? Or I'm thinking the location was great, the crowd was not great. Why don't I see the good qualities, the fantastic achievement of 2 girls, college-going girls doing Athai with such confidence and such pride? Why don't I see that? Why don't I see the lovely food served? Why don't I see the love and affection of my friend and his wife who were so warm and welcoming to us? Acha dekho yaar, why are you seeing bad things? If you can't see the good, you're consigning yourself to a life of misery and dissatisfaction. You won't find happiness anywhere. If you get it even for a moment, you lose it the next moment. Ye kya hai yaar? This is not nice. Are, who are we to judge others? Take delight in their good qualities and leave it there. Aage badhiye jeevan mein. The third quality is karuna. Karuna is compassion for sinners, because they don't know the universal law. They don't know the true paths. They don't know the teachings of righteousness. So therefore they will sin. So should we judge them and beat them up and browbeat them and yell at them and scream at them and condescend to them? Should we discriminate against them? Or should we practice compassion? The choice is ours. I think all of us have bad qualities. There's none of us. If we had all good qualities, we'd be in moksha. We won't be in sansar. When I have bad qualities, I look for compassion from others. Therefore, when I see bad qualities in others, should I not look for compassion? Or are we all so perfect that we can, Jesus Christ said that. I think the story goes that people were going to stone some man to death. And Jesus Christ was passing by and he says, let that man pick up the first stone who has not sinned himself. So, bhai, we're all sinners. Who are we to judge someone? We should therefore practice compassion. Compassion, understanding, and acceptance. What is compassion? Compassion is adhyatmik daya, spiritual compassion, spiritual pity, not pity, spiritual understanding, spiritual forgiveness. That's compassion. Mercy. Mercy towards whom? Towards people who don't practice dharma. Towards people who practice a different kind of dharma. Towards people who don't believe in dharma at all. Mercy towards those who are poor, unhappy, miserable, and are suffering from misfortune. We must have compassion and mercy towards all of them. Without that, we are binding karmas. When we practice compassion, we are shedding karmas. In this Kal that we were born in, the Hunda of Sarpini Kal, is a horrible, horrible time to be born in. We must all have sinned greatly gravely, immensely. Otherwise, we would not be born in this era. We are born in this era of great unhappiness and strife. Of the 6 eras, the first era is the Sukma, which is happiness, the greatest form of happiness. Happiness times 2. The next era is Sukma, that was happiness. The third era is Sukma, where there's happiness and unhappiness, but sorry, happiness prevails over unhappiness. The fourth Kal is Sukma, where there is sorrow and happiness, but sorrow prevails over happiness. The fifth era is Dukma, where there's only unhappiness, no happiness. And the sixth Kal, which is extremely horrible, is Dukma, where there is sorrow times 2. Great, deep, intense sorrow. Now we are born in the 5th era of Dukma, where there is sorrow. Therefore, what little happiness we will get is when we practice dharma. And dharma means practicing Maitri, Pramod, Karuna, and Madhyastha. When you practice these qualities, when you look at the world with the eyes of Maitri, Pramod, Karuna, and Madhyastha Bhav, you will find happiness in this world. And if you're unable to look at people with these four bhav, you'll find sorrow and misery in this world. So you decide what you want in this world and walk on that path. Because what bhav I will do, what bhav I will indulge in, will determine my future. So we decide carefully what we do, and we will have to live with the consequences of whatever we do. If I practice Maitri, Pramod, Karuna, and Madhyastha, I will get that from others, and I will find bliss in this life and in the afterlife. If I don't practice these qualities, then I will find strife in this life, and my other life is messed completely. So I have to decide what I practice, because I am going to determine my own future. I have covered some ground. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer you. If not, I will summarize. Unfortunately, this is a Zoom meeting. I can't see you in person. And I don't know if there are questions. So whoever is in charge, if there are questions and I'm unable to see them, please tell me. I'm happy to answer your questions. If you raise your hand, I would prefer if you enable the mics of all the listeners so that you can ask me a question. I'm happy to answer you.
You can unmute yourself if you have any question. I have enabled your option. You can unmute yourself now.
Thank you so much. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask. No questions? Okay, let me just then use the next 5 minutes to summarize what I have said today. I have to understand, right? No questions, correct? So I'm going to use these next 4 minutes to summarize. Firstly, whatever happens, happens for good. जे थाए ते सारा माटे, जे थाए ते मारा कर्म. जो कुछ भी हो रहा है ना, अच्छे के लिए हो रहा है. और जो कुछ भी हो रहा है मेरे कर्म के उदय से हो रहा है. इसके लिए किस बात की पैनिक, किस बात का गुस्सा, किस बात का बीइंग अपसेट, किस बात का एंगर? It's all a result of my own actions. It's like I go to the bank and I have 100 rupees in my bank. Now, after standing in the queue, I reach the teller and I tell him, give me 250 rupees. The teller is going to say, boss, you have only 100. How can I give you 250? So instead of fighting with the teller and demanding that he give me 250, I have to accept that I have 100 rupees in the bank only. And if the bank says you have a minimum balance you have to keep of 10 rupees, then I can only pull out 90 rupees. If I can accept that, I'll be happy. If I don't accept it, I'll be miserable, keep fighting, wait in the queue, waste other people's time and get nothing out of it. So I have to realize whatever happens for good. It is happening because of my own karmas. When you believe this, it brings you super positivity. Because then you're accepting things. And only when you accept will you move ahead. Otherwise, the greatest struggle that you find in life is people don't accept reality. And therefore, they can never move on. So accept things. Accept that whatever is happening for good. There can be no injustice in this world. Why? Because it runs on the basis of karma. And karma is 100% accurate. They make no mistakes. There's no partiality. There's no nepotism. It all works like clockwork. The next thing is I deal with people in 4 ways and in 4 ways only. Maitri, Pramod, Karuna and Madhyasthi. There's no 5th way. You only deal with people in 4 ways. Maitri means universal friendship. Friendship with everyone on this universe. Everybody. Pramod is admiration. To truly admire people. To admire what is good in them. And everyone has good qualities. When you think of someone, think of his good qualities and bring a smile. It'll bring a smile to your face. Karuna, compassion. Practice compassion. Trust me, we all have shortcomings. Practice compassion towards everyone. Embrace everyone. We're all human beings. We're all in the same boat. We're all facing the same challenges. Some of us may cope better. Some of us may cope less well. And some of us may merely seem to cope better. We're all struggling. Please have compassion for your fellow beings. Especially if you want them to have compassion towards you, please practice compassion. And the 4th is Madhyastha Bhava. Madhyastha Bhava means equanimity. It means accepting things as they are. It means being indifferent to the mundane world. It means choosing to respond carefully, discreetly, and developing your own prerogative of when to respond, when to not respond, and how to respond. With these 2 teachings today, firstly, whatever happens for good. And secondly, I will deal with people in 4 ways only. Maitri, Pramod, Karuna, and Madhyasthi. I leave you here today. Please reflect on this and have a lovely, lovely Paryushan. I will come back. We'll talk again tomorrow morning for me, tomorrow evening for you. Meanwhile, think and reflect on the teachings of the Tirthankars and how we can imbibe them in our lives. Thank you so much. Jai Jinendra.
Thank you, Manish bhai.
You're welcome.
Okay. So thank you everyone for the joining this session. We will meet tomorrow and we'll continue the same series for next, I guess, 7 more days, right? Yes. We'll continue this series 7 more days. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining. Jai Jinendra.